All right, welcome to Divine Art Alchemy for Sanctuary. So, new moon, new topic. Very excited to be here as always with you beautiful ladies. So, let's go ahead and before we do anything else, let's go ahead and get ourselves centered so we can be here present, and then we'll get our candle lit to call in the collective. So, let's just center ourselves. We'll take our 3 breaths, one for ourselves, one for those that are in our thoughts and in our hearts, and then one for a special intention that we hold in our heart tonight. So let's go ahead and close our eyes and just drop our head into our heart space and just go ahead and take a deep breath and then let everything go. Take that breath for the collective, those that are in our thoughts and in our hearts. And let's take that breath for that special intention. All right. If you got your candle, let's go ahead and call in the collective with our beautiful candle ritual. All right, let this flame represent.
Let this flame represent
the wild spirit that burns within each of us.
the wild spirit that burns within each of us.
As we awaken our own wild spirit,
As we awaken our own wild spirit,
may we awaken the collective.
may we awaken the collective.
All right. What do y'all have going tonight? I said earlier, I have the, this is the petrified wood. I found this beautiful piece and it's really nice. It's hard to tell up close, or not up close, but
Yeah, it's
on the screen, but it feels good. I feel the energy.
Yeah. Well, I have my my brown on, and I got some sandalwood incense that I'm gonna light.
Nice.
I
love sandalwood.
Yeah.
A good one.
I had some sandalwood going earlier.
Very nice.
What does your shirt say, Ember?
It says, in my defense, the moon was full, and I was left to my own devices or something like that. I was left unsupervised. Yeah.
I like it.
That's great. She's in preparation, right?
Well, yeah. Too bad. Yeah, I need a funny new moon saying. It works for tonight.
Yeah, in brown. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh no.
I know, right? Yeah, never.
We'll touch on that when we get to the socks.
Yes.
Get something to say about that.
All right. You want to go over the keys and the
Yes.
what we're doing?
Let's do a little overview to start, and then we'll move into a meditation after that, and then the socks following. And after the meditation, of course, everyone dive into their beautiful creation. But to get us started, and you can start on your creation now if you'd like, if you already have everything lined out. But let's talk about sanctuary for just a moment. So sanctuary, as we do each topic each month, comes from Soul Acceleration, the card that was pulled, and we pulled from the card the heart chakra, primarily the heart chakra, being the centered and focused on. Now, this is about contemplation. This is about support. We're calling those the master keys, right? About deep thought and support, where that comes from, where we choose to ask for or not, and the whys behind it. And so we're going to explore setbacks, knowing that they're temporary, just kind of reminders that any setback is a temporary situation and that we can receive help when needed. How we do that, kind of taking a look at how that happens, and then shining. Now, this one's a strange one, but shining a light on lack. Now, what we mean by that is not literally let's focus on what we don't have. That's not what we mean. It's shining a light on how we react to times where we feel as though we don't have enough. What our reactions are to this. And then invigorate beliefs and resilience. What mechanism, again, how we react to bouncing back from the ebbs of life. So I want to read through, and those are the main keys, but I want to read through basically the overview description that heart expansion connects to our spiritual center. Right. So it's really taking the heart chakra is in the center of everything. And as long as we stay focused upon that, focused upon what really speaks to our soul, the center of our being and our universe, everything works out. This space holds the key to security and abundance. It gives us the stability and the confidence, knowing that we're coming from our soul's purpose. And life continuously will throw ebb and flow situations that will teach us and guide us as time goes on. They're always going to be there. There's no way to avoid ebbs in our life. And the flows, sometimes they can flow too quickly, right? But even when something amazing is happening and we're on a good flow, it is what do we learn from that and how do we react? And do we allow the balance to keep us in check? So how we react to these setbacks, any situations, what triggers us, and then using this to play a crucial role in our own personal magic. So really, we're taking everything and just shining a light through the heart chakra. So do you believe the deck is stacked against you, or do you search for meaning and receive help to overcome any obstacle? Kind of a glass half full, or is it half empty? What is your temperament? Which do you normally go to? But it's your choice. We don't have to go it alone. So here in this community, we're going to spend a month in our reactions to ebbs and flows.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where is your
Let's do
sanctuary?
it. Right. It's right in my heart, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's awesome. That's really, it's such a beautiful way to look at life, to just to be aware and to recognize that. So love it. You said the mantra, right? Did you specifically point out that was the mantra?
Not.
Did
I will
not.
now. I was going to do that with socks, but yeah, let's do that now.
Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the mantra down and then we'll move on.
The mantra is: the universe supports me as I reflect the beliefs from within my heart. And I like the timing that we're doing this as we move from winter to spring and things become more active as the weather breaks, as we're out doing things and we get in such a momentum. I love the just taking a moment of thinking, what are our triggers? When things aren't going our way, how do we react? And let's really call to that awareness. So when that happens in the middle of a busy time frame, when things are flowing quickly and an ebb happens and smacks us in the face, we already have kind of an action plan, or we already at least have the awareness to be able to move around that obstacle much easier and with grace.
Yeah, I love that. Always using nature as that metaphor for how we should behave, not that we should be doing anything, but that we have the opportunity if we choose to see that. So beautiful. Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and do our meditation so that those of us that are creating our Divine Art Alchemy tonight. We'll go ahead and have our, we have the keys, the sock, we'll have the socks here shortly, and then have something to work with. So wait till Kathleen comes back here and take a drink. Okay, I invite you to slow your breath, closing your eyes, as that is your reminder to drop your head into your heart space. Being present in this moment. Breathe and allowing space between each breath. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. As we explore our internal space, see if you can hold the intention to be fully present. Surrender, allow, and trust that there is some unique treasure to uncover here. Using our breath to connect us to divine source energy, cleansing and balancing our energetic field. Filling our body with activating life force and releasing anything that is no longer serving our highest good. As we use our breath to connect us to the divine, I invite you to fully believe in yourself and your destiny. To see yourself with fresh eyes and a loving heart. To experiencing yourself on a deep soul level so that you feel loved, supported, and invigorated. As we breathe, I invite you to see yourself on a beautiful sandy beach of the ocean. There's a warm breeze blowing, and it feels amazing on your skin. You have come to this place to experience the expansiveness of nature and to feel the openness and freedom in your life. This is your sanctuary. As you watch the ebb and flow of the ocean, a sense of peacefulness washes over you, allowing you to reflect on the lessons of your life and to see those lessons from this expansive, forgiving view and a loving heart. As you look around, you notice the sun's reflection on the waves, creating a playful dance upon the water. You're intrigued and you're mesmerized by the beauty and grace before you. The expansiveness, the allowing, the movement. And as you watch this beautiful scene in front of you, you are inspired to get up from your place of observing and you begin to dance. And you see yourself dancing to the rhythm of the waves, allowing your body to move effortlessly. You feel your shoulders rolling back and you feel your heart expansion. And you're allowing yourself to be supported even on the sandy ground. Even when you feel things are not solid, you feel the support, that loving, open, supported feeling. And you focus on believing in yourself, in the movements, and just the effortlessness of your body. Breathing in and out from your heart chakra. Allowing the playfulness of the moment to expand your everything. See yourself with a huge smile on your face, dancing and twirling and leaping in the air. Experiencing this beautiful vibration all through your body. Feeling those sensations flow from your body down to Mother Earth, down to her core so that you feel that support. And then out through your fingertips as you expand your vibration. Out through your crown chakra as you expand even further and you become one with the universe in this moment. allowing your heart to lead the way. Seeing yourself as magnetic as you experience life through your heart, that divine connection to every other heartbeat on Mother Earth, to nature, to nurture, and that you are supported and your presence is needed in the world, that you feel that deep connection, and that you feel the expansiveness, safe and secure as you expose the most vulnerable parts of yourself, knowing that you are loved, you are beautiful, and that you breathe and anchor this moment in, seeing yourself as the beautiful expression of love that you are. Breathe in the salty air. Feel the warmth on your skin. Feel this place of security that comes from within, that comes from that connection with the heart. Take a moment to offer gratitude for this moment, for the beautiful sights that you see in front of you, for the expansive horizon, and for believing in yourself, that you have everything you need inside of you. And when you're ready, offer a deep bow. Place your hands on your heart. And when you're ready, come back to this moment in time. Come back to this space, taking with you all the lessons, all the feelings, all the gracefulness that you have and the playfulness, and come back. Mm. Ah, You have anything you want to share, you're welcome to, or we can start creating our vision. I love being at the beach. Let's just say I love the beach. It is my happy place.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. The feeling of that was definitely all at night, and it was all very not only very cozy and comforting, but it was also kind of exciting of the anticipation of something that was like over the horizon. Yeah.
I felt the moonlight. That's where I felt it too. Like it obviously was warm because it's feeling the warm, but I felt that moonlight. And I don't know that it was a full moon, but it felt very like because I could see the light.
Yeah.
So it had to be close to full moon. Just amplifying all that beautiful expansiveness.
Interesting. I was in the sun.
Mm.
That feels good too, doesn't it?
Yes.
It'll be fun. I'm gonna play with this and since I do love the beach and yeah, see if it's in the sun or moon or different times during this.
It was lots of joy.
Mm.
I felt that.
Uh-huh. Lots and lots of joy.
Yeah. Mine was like a lot of the dancing in the moonlight.
That's it. Yeah.
Writing that down for the song later.
I love that. Yes.
Oh,
All right.
Is everyone ready for me to move through socks?
Kathleen, do you have anything you want to share or are you still
Yeah,
working?
I was just as I was dancing, it was funny. It's like I had this great moment where like I didn't fall, but like I knew something would catch me. And it wasn't like there wasn't a person there, but there was something that like there was just an energy that caught me. And like, it just it was great. It was like I kind of tried to imagine it being a person, but it wasn't. It was just this kind of invisible thing. And it kind of reminded me of there's this poem that talks about how when you how invisible hands basically will help you. Once you commit, you can never go back. And like that you're on the right path kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, it was great.
Fantastic.
I know my body's going, yes, yes, yes. I feel that. Gosh, Kathleen, that's really cool.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, but dancing, beach, water, totally my happy place. Yeah.
Feels like a sanctuary, doesn't it?
Mhm.
I think so. There's something about that. Going to the, well, I got my congestion tonight. Excuse me. To the beach to let your worry, like just let everything go. Like it's that ebb and flow.
Wash
Yes,
away.
yes, yes. It's always a place of, yeah, sanctuary for me. And Joe and I have many debates on it. My Joe and I have many debates on it because he says mountains, I say beach, and I'm like, I'll go to the mountains. I love the mountains. I will say that I love the mountains, but beach is my sanctuary. So, Heather, do you have anything you want to add? Are you there? Okay.
I'm
Well, how
here.
about some socks? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I love the ocean. Mine was like more at dusk. Plus I'm a Pisces, so water. This is very powerful for me.
Mm-hmm. When's your birthday?
March 12th.
Okay.
Well,
I have two Pisces babies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've just kicked
Yes.
it off.
It's exciting. It is a good time. Like I say, that time of year.
Well, that does make a great segue going into the system of correspondences, because that is our element, the water, and the reason being is that Pisces focus, right? That deep level of consciousness and awareness and contemplation, all of that really plays into this month's topic. And yeah, with water being our element, brown, do you guys know why brown is the color? I know we always have like vibrant colors, and brown seems so boring, but the heart chakra is kind of like, like our big thought of a sanctuary, putting all of that together. The heart chakra consists of, we normally think of green with the heart chakra, but also pink and green, pink being more of a, and you can use these colors too, right? These colors are great as well. Pink, green, pink being more of self-love, green being more of, there you go, of outward love and connection with others. When you put those two colors together, guess what you got? Brown.
Brown. It could be sand color, right?
What?
Sand color. Can make it like a light brown.
Oh, yeah,
Sand color.
absolutely. Any of those variations, right? Any shade, you want to make it a little more green or a little more pink, absolutely. Or if you just want to choose one, and that's the beauty of the and doing this work, and not only the topic of the month, but all of this goes through what your intention is, your overall intention. So how does that connect with this topic? And maybe it is more focused on self-love. Maybe it is more focused on a relationship or the outward expression of your heart chakra. Whatever that is, you can choose a pink or a green, absolutely. But that's the reason of brown. It is encompassing all of that together. So hence, that's why it's heart chakra and brown, right? Like, didn't sound right. Didn't sound like something we normally do, but there's a reason for all the madness.
We like to keep you on your toes too.
Yes. All right, so I'm moving stuff around, so I'm like losing my
Oh,
socks to see what's next. Okay, the stone. So we have two options to choose from. We have the smoky quartz or a petrified wood, which we're calling it a stone. The petrified wood is about transformation, right? It's about inner strength and resilience, but it helps dissolve any sort of emotional fears that we have. And then the smoky quartz is all about that inner strength and compassion and support, and is also very grounding as well. Our plants, essential oils, incense, putting all of those together, we've got a bunch of options to throw in there because they don't all fit into, well, for example, you don't really have a licorice essential oil. So, but it is a plant. You can find teas. Sassafras also is in there. And the reason being for all of these, they're so exciting. I love this. The sassafras is about success and fortune, and good health. It is difficult to find. I don't think they made it illegal, but there's a lot of controversy behind why it was so prevalent, say 30 years ago, if not longer. And now it's like almost impossible to find. They say that there's a chemical compound in there that is a carcinogen. And then there are other scientists that say that's bullshit. It is more of a hallucinogen. What the truth is, I have not went down that rabbit hole yet, but I do find it fascinating. And I did order some tea. I did find some. Took a long time, but I found it.
And you're going to share the link, right?
Yeah, I will.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Joe and I
Yeah,
Joe and I were looking for it yesterday. We spent some time together searching together for it. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, we found a couple of links. So yes, let me make a note. I will definitely share that. Share the tea link. And then licorice, much easier to find. Licorice is all about like movement of thought. So perfect for those times where you really do hit an ebb and thinking of like, how do we get around this ebb, right? How do we work through this? And they also you can kind of use them interchangeably. And I think they were for many, many years because both of them are kind of connected to root beer. So and I'm talking like 40, 50 years ago, they would use a little bit of both combos, one versus another. But anyway, licorice and sassafras, similar flavors a little bit. Elderflower is another one on there only because it's all about not only transformation, but compassion. And that focus should be inward, compassion for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then sandalwood. That's probably the easiest one to find of everything. Well, that in of itself has some issues with it, but make sure it's sustainably resourced, but it is about balance and our personal spiritual journey. And then our planets, we've got the moon and we have Venus. Now, normally, well, with the moon, we have the full moon is going to be our most effective phase this month to really shine a light on, right? Back to shining the light on lack or the whys behind it or our reactions to it. But Venus is the planet of love. But once again, turning it inward. Our days are Friday. For the same reason of the Venus, it's all about love, right? That's the day of love. So any opportunity to plan something, especially for yourself, for any sort of self-love, Friday's the day for that. Our direction is northeast, and that is really a bit of a combo if you think about it. It brings mental clarity and gives us kind of like focus on our own spiritual power. And we have the numbers. We've got a couple of numbers to consider here, and that there's a reason for that. There's 7, which also is our number of the year, right? 2023 equals 7, but that number is about our own personal truths and spirituality. But then there's also 12. Cosmic order, creativity, and self-expression. And that self-expression and compassion, putting those together for the heart chakra focus is really important. Now, 12 breaks down, 12 goes into the number 3, which is about creativity as well and expression. But the 12 is really important because it does bring in cosmic order. The foods, seafood and meat, kind of odd and random. Seafood, that's going to be a water focus. But it's also the meat I'm leaving wide open, and it's so strange that I even put meat on there. But the purpose of that is, if you eat meat, it's about making that connection in gratitude. Chicken, your favorite thing? Absolutely. When you eat chicken, talk to that chicken before you eat it. Give gratitude, give thanks for that, and really focus on the nourishment that that animal gives to you. If you don't eat meat, then focus on these animals that normally are eaten, and think about the whys behind you don't. Why don't you eat, maybe you'll eat seafood and not cows, or, whatever it is. This is about the thinking of the why behind it and connecting the animals on the level of oneness, that we are all the same, and having that connection with the animals. So it's not trying to talk anybody into vegetarianism at all. That's not the point. The point is our relationship with the foods that we put in us, and the animals are closest to us to communicate with than plants usually, right? There's always exceptions. There's some people that may connect more with the plants. I get that. But generally speaking, we connect with animals more. So making that connection. And speaking of the animals, the last one, this is an armadillo. So a fun and funky animal for us this month. And the reason for the armadillo is because of the soul acceleration. It was the card that we pulled. The armadillo is in there. What I love about the armadillo is about definitely protection and defenses. But it's about that protection of emotional pain, but also teaches us how to kind of roll with the punches. They're solitary animals, completely solitary animals, all species. I don't know how many. I want to say there's 15, 20 different types of armadillos in the world. There's only one type in the US, but they're all solitary animals. So this is more of a focus on this self-love, how we protect ourselves, how we roll with the punches. I had a bit relationship with one armadillo. Her name was, I guess it still is, as far as I know, she's still alive. Violetta. Violetta was a 7-banded armadillo. They can have different bands depending on the species. 7, 3, most common. 9, I think, is a pretty common one as well. But Violetta once for my birthday painted this for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
That's great.
2014. She might not be alive today, actually. She stunk like crazy and was mean and cankerous, and but they are very tenacious animals, amazing at digging themselves out of any situation, any hole, and complete escape artists, and once again, rolling with the punches. All right, so that concludes the socks.
It's funny
That was
when you
exciting.
when you started talking about like communication with the animals, like both my dogs came to connect with me.
Did they?
Cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're in agreement.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Mom, I can communicate with you.
Yes.
I like that. It's interesting, like the whole sassafras thing. So Naomi and I and Joe, we were talking about like different names and our Vegas names, you know, like what would we want to be called if we were in Vegas and wanted to have that moment.
Cute.
Hers happens to be sassafras. I was like, oh, how did you get sassafras? So now every time I see sassafras, which of course, you know, we hear it in this group a little bit or know about it. And then, yeah, so seeing it on here, I'm going to be thinking about Naomi all month, which is great for this.
I thought of Joe immediately because that's,
Of course.
the band. So,
Right.
so yeah, we were searching for it the other day, yesterday.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the yoga group that I travel with, my yoga group I travel with, we pick names before we leave.
See?
Uh-huh. Mine is Roxy.
Oh, well, perfect.
Mhm.
I love it.
Roxy talks to strangers.
I know, right? It's like that's
Oh.
the Vegas thing. It's like, all
Uh-huh.
right, where are we? Roxy's outgoing, right?
Say again?
Roxy's outgoing, right?
Roxy's very outgoing.
I love it.
Scares me a
That
little
face.
bit.
Oh, I love it. So I am going to, my intention is to focus on my water intake this cycle. That
Mm.
really feels good to me. I'm going to stay away from brown unless it's sand, because normally I'm a color person. But I'll be like, I'll go with the sand. But yeah, that really is going to be one of my intentions, is to drink more water and to experience. Yeah, I think especially this time of year, because it feels like we're moving more, and it's still, but we have the heat on, and so it's still dried out on the inside of our homes. And so it's like, you know, if we focus on adding a little more water to the atmosphere here, and then drinking more, I think that will feel really good. I'm going to play around with the numbers too, that being one of my sock items that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that. We started using a humidifier recently because our dogs were doing this reverse sneeze thing, and the vet said, you know, why don't you try getting a humidifier, because their nasal passages are probably like really dried out, you know, from the winter.
Mhm.
And oh my God, it's like night and day with the humidifier, you know. It's just so much
Oh,
easier. Yeah, because like my skin, it feels so dry and everything, you know. It's like, yeah,
mhm.
it really does make a difference.
Can't ever hurt to have, well, I mean, I guess there is obviously a thing of too much water, but I don't think anybody that I know personally has to deal with drinking too much water.
Yeah, very, very few. Yeah, it's a obsessive quality, I guess, if you're doing too much. But
Uh-huh.
that's interesting about the dogs and the
Reverse sneeze.
Yeah, because I mean, I've
Mhm.
got two brachycephalics. They reverse sneeze all the time, but I've never thought about
Ooh.
maybe having a little extra water. I just thought, I mean, and all brachycephalics do, but
Oh, it cleared up so fast when we when we got the humidifier going. I mean, we also gave them these eye drops that are supposed to help the whole nasal passages, like, get more moisture as well. But yeah.
all right. That might be good for Tilda.
We
Yeah.
tried to do the not humidifier. We tried to do like with the oil and the water, and that just went. I mean, I could not keep it filled up. So I guess it was kind of like the humidifier, only it was like but it was a small container, and I just couldn't keep it filled up. So noticing how much is evaporated is really interesting. So keeping that going.
What do you mean with the oil? Like what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
Like
Like
essential oil?
essential oil with water in a, what are those things called?
Like a nebulizer or a diffuser?
Not diffuser. Yeah, it's a diffuser, but it was fairly big. I mean, it wasn't tiny, but just the fact of going through so much of it that it was a full-time job. So I do that in addition, but I have a pot of water that I keep in like a heater type thing, like I want to say like a crock pot, but not exactly, but something like that, so that it's heated up and evaporated. Just being creative, I guess.
Yeah. That's good. A good idea.
Well, like the essential oils, like that always feels good. And I guess, obviously you have to be mindful of it with pets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there certain ones that you need to
Yeah, you're supposed to stay away from like peppermint, spearmint. There's some others.
Yeah, they don't do well with things like cinnamon and
Right. Yeah.
some of the stronger.
Yeah.
okay. I wouldn't have thought peppermint would have been an issue, but I guess it's because it is so strong.
Yeah.
Or it can be, I guess. I like how we do this work. And even though, like, we just had, or a lot of people celebrated Valentine's Day, and yet we just get to celebrate the heart and
Mm-hmm.
on our own. It's like it's whatever it is. It just feels good that we allow the soul acceleration and the time of the year and that to just help guide us through our experience, and it feels good. I think just of all that, where for me personally, I just struggle with the made up holidays. And so I know it's so weird, but I'm like, I just struggle with that. So, and my family, they know now because, we're like, we celebrate half off chocolate day instead of Valentine's, like if you want to celebrate Valentine's, that's cool, but let's celebrate half off chocolate day. But really taking in and just utilizing the whole experience of the self, and putting it through all of the different lenses just feels really good on our time.
On our time, yeah. Yeah, I set an intention for the beginning, usually pretty quickly. I try to, at least, before first quarter moon, and many times it changes. But for this one, as for what feels like is important to me at this point is observing reactions, and not necessarily only my own, but everyone's around, and absolutely mine, right? Like this is, about our heart chakra. But also in my reactions to others' reactions, I guess that's what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Of, like, am I quick to anger if something isn't communicated properly, or if someone else is having a difficult time, how do I internalize it? How am I going through it? Being such an empath, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on it, and especially with, things I do for a living. But yeah, it does. There's also the thing about setting up too many boundaries and too many thick brick walls, right? So there's a way to just, I don't want to just bypass things. And so really just taking a look at my reactions to, or lack thereof, to situations this month.
That feels good too. Because it will be interesting, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but the more that time passes on, the more people that are out, the more that it's really my experience is that a lot of people have lost their compassion. It's all about like, get the fuck out of the way, and I'm gonna do whatever I want or whatever, and just I'm like, just am surprised. So it's like, yeah, so that's where I think those reactions, being mindful of that is really important, because I don't know if it's like the isolation or like what, if it's like people are feeling like they're in a hurry now or what's happening, but it feels very strange.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people suffering, and a lot of people in self-protection mode,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hence back to the reaction of the reactions when you come across something, whether it be, and it won't be long, we'll be going through another political craze soon, won't be long.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just the reactions to the reactions, to the negativity, to those that don't agree with us,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been focusing on, it's kind of similar, I think, like non-attachment in a way that's like
Mm-hmm.
not taking it personally.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of reacting, like even when people are in this kind of mode, like it's not really at me. I mean, it's saying it's about them and what they're dealing with, or, what we're dealing with in our culture. But yeah, to really work on not personalizing.
Right.
It's 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming
Thank
the
you, Kathleen.
observer.
Say that again.
Becoming the observer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is a daily, sometimes minute by minute practice.
Yes, it is.
But I had a long conversation with my son today about that, because he gets real worked up over what's going on in the world, and well, not that I'm so great at it, but this is what I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think like that's awesome, because I think a lot of people they're like looking for perspective, you know? Like, I think
Mhm.
we all know that there's like, you know, light and dark and troubling things, but like perspective, and you know, we go through a lot of kind of like what this whole program is about. Like we have different, we kind of are honoring different you know, seasons of the year, seasons of our lives, and all that. And you know, there are political seasons, and there's like time, you know, all the stuff with the environment and all that. You know, it's like, it's that all we can do is really do our best. You know what I mean? And then kind of like you were saying, Kimberly, and like, and then we have to let stuff roll off our back, like, because we can't solve everything, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. Rolling with the punches.
And yet taking personal and yet taking personal responsibility for whatever it
Yeah,
is your contribution is.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's an interesting conversation recently about growing up now, and not only like the ecology, what's happening physically with the planet, but threats of war and all of this, and the reaction to it for children and young adults who are very young and still learning how to work through any sort of trauma, or how to deal with any situation. And, you know, just being, you know, young and immature. And in having this conversation with someone that was like in their 70s, it was, I don't know, so interesting, because there was like, hey, I spent every day of my life for a while hiding under a desk with shrill drills happening because there was a threat of war continuously, that a bomb would kill us any day. And they're like, that's bullshit. Like, I'm not buying that. And I'm like, oh, well, I never thought of it quite like that. You know, so it's back to the perspective thing, you know, of like, oh, wow, my generation, I guess we went through some of that stuff too, and knew the planet was dying and nobody listened, so I just drank, right? Like, you know, like how we all deal with it, whether it is collectively as a generation, or what we're learned, taught by, you know, family and friends and community. But it is interesting that the perspective that we take and the stance, the boundaries and the stance that's put around that is very surprising sometimes. The beliefs.
And
it's funny, is what I'm cutting out right now, the beliefs that we have and what we stick with.
well, and going back to, you know, speak to someone in a different generation for a different perspective,
Yeah.
whether it be young or old or somewhere in between, because the thing is when we, you know, our tendency is to gravitate towards people like ourselves, and yet we miss out so much when we don't have that diversity in our life. And so looking at having young grandchildren, it's really interesting to experience, you know, their life and what they're dealing with. And, you know, and obviously everyone's different because a different family might experience it differently, but they're just focused on day-to-day stuff. It's like, are you not concerned about all the stuff, the spill, the water spill, or not the water spill, but the train, the spill in the water, and all these things that are happening in the earth and around and everything. And they're just like, we're worried about this ball game. Like, this is like serious stuff, it's like we're trying to beat our rival. I'm like, oh my gosh. And yet on that other hand, it's like, okay, that's your reality. That's where you're focusing. You're putting your focus towards that. I respect you. I feel like, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And yet, going back to that personal responsibility. So it's like, how can we see the best world for ourselves and for those that we care about? And what does that look like? How can we experience more of that? And personally, I believe it's through that heart chakra. Having that intention to really feel good about yours so that you can amplify that love and that vibration of healing that comes with that, with the love. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really great topic.
Well, it's interesting that heart chakra was our word of the year collectively, our word of the year last year, and we've made it to February and we're focused on heart chakra again. But what I love about that is that with balance being our collective word of the year, that's where this topic comes from, right? What is that balance? Are we balanced as we're filtering everything through the heart chakra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. And what was so interesting was I'm looking for it. I saw it a minute ago. The full acceleration card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it
Our
is.
little armadillo.
Yeah. Yeah. So just as a reminder, it's about adversity and insecurity, poverty and worry, boundaries, poor health, shortage. And it's about the search for your spiritual center where security and abundance can be found, and knowing that all setbacks are temporary. So no matter
Mm-hmm.
what you're going through, and especially like that insecurity and adversity, right? Yeah. All setbacks are temporary.
And is it really even a setback? Is it not just like the cha-cha, right? Using our dance metaphor. Here we go. Just the cha-cha. We're just not a setback, but a dance move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next moment you might be leaping through the air or whatever.
But the receiving of help too, right? Like not being afraid to ask for help.
Or get Kathleen's invisible hands over there, knowing, right? Our gnosis, knowing that we're taken care of no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
I love that personally, Kathleen. That I hope that you can feel that again, because that felt really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like our images this cycle. I always love having the key in the door. And this is really, I love that. That feels good.
Yes, like that one too. The pink and the green.
Mm-hmm. I know I've talked about this a bunch in the past years, but really when I was younger, choosing to close off my heart and to be very hard and closed up, obviously, by choice was, looking back, I didn't see another way because we didn't have the support group. We didn't have this information. I was going it alone. And really just knowing that now having this beautiful community to celebrate, be supported of, and just feels so good to be able to come and even say that, to say that, in my youth or past that I consciously chose to close myself off because I didn't like the way it felt when I got hurt from being myself. And yet, y'all get to see me like I normally am, eat silly or, just playful. And I feel that it all comes from being vulnerable and allowing my heart to be seen, which is, not always comfortable, but yet it's like, you know what? Embracing every bit of myself feels more important than hiding or than being even a part of myself, because like we're meant to live our fullest expression of ourselves, right?
Life is too short not to.
Yeah. And be the example for others, like that all of us here, we're just such a beautiful example for others when we allow ourselves to experience life through the heart. You can't do it from that place of closure, but to say, I'm willing to experience my feelings. I'm willing to share my vulnerability, and yet I feel like this is such a beautiful, safe space to do it. Our collective ladies. How's everybody's Divine Art Alchemy coming? Y'all doing? Getting it?
It's coming right along. Yeah.
Coming right along.
Everything's cut out and ready. I mentioned that I ordered some sassafras tea, but the other socks this month, I like the idea of the 7 playing with that. I'm a big seafood fan. And I haven't had much lately at all, so I'm looking forward to enjoying a little of that. Petrified wood. I remember this is a gazillion years ago when I first started gathering crystals. I was in Florida and I went into this crystal shop for the first time. Or the first time it connected with me, I guess, really what I wanted. And I just grabbed tons of different stuff. And I was so fascinated with what each one did, what each one meant, how they felt in my hand. But one of them was a piece of petrified wood. And I still have it to this day. I still have all of those to this day. And I keep them all together. And so yeah, I haven't pulled it out in quite a long time, but it was always fascinating to me what petrified wood looks like. Yeah. And even though we're not in a earth sign, we're in that water sign. I love the fact that it is that transformation. And it's a huge transformation.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how long it takes to make petrified wood? Do you have any idea? We just have to, we're going to do a little research on that one, because I think that would be a kind of cool thing to know.
Yeah. And circumstances have a lot to do with it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some sort of timeline that we can find.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are the socks that stick out for me right now. Of course, it usually turns out being something different than I think. But
Right. So let's talk about our brown. Let's talk
oh, sure.
about
Yeah.
just a little bit more. Since we were talking before we started the recording, Ember and I went to a high school where our school uniform color was like this hideous brown. And I vowed to never wear it again after, and that's been what, 30 few years
Oh,
ago.
absolutely. Yeah. Wearing brown pants or skirt every single day for 4 years. I will never have brown pants again. I actually, I take that back. I did. One of my friends gave me a pair of really cool brown pants and I tried wearing them. I think I wore them once and just like, yeah, burned them.
Thanks, but no thanks. I
Yeah,
know. It
can't
just,
do that. Can't do that. They're really cool with all these like funky zippers. But no, yeah, there's a special hate for brown pants.
especially
every grade in our high school had a different color. That's how we were all distinguished from each other. So there was brown, navy blue, maroon, or green. And we were lucky enough to march into our high school with brown.
And the worst part about it is the fact that the boys did not have to wear a specific color or any type of identifier. And I felt
Well,
that
they
goes
all wore
back to
blue
clothes. Now,
pants.
did they? I didn't think that was blue. I thought that was
Mm.
khaki, or I thought, well, it was khaki or blue, wasn't it? I'll have to go back and look at our thing, but it wasn't that they got to identify by grade, though. It was, I guess, and I guess it would have been too hard to get different colors for the guys like that. But I always felt like it was like
Unfair.
it was very unfair. Like, just felt unfair. And yet, that somebody, yeah, going back to the labels and the putting us in a box and all that other bullshit. Like, I want to choose whatever I want to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole point of me saying that about the brown was I love, and I do have a brown ink pen, but I normally love the colors, and that always brings me so much joy. And I'm not feeling the joy on the brown. But I'm going to save the pink or the green for another cycle where I'm going to honor it and stick with it, because I do like what it stands for, the pink and the green, and of the self-love and love for others, and yeah, the mixing the two together, because I think that's important. But
Well, one thing I think is kind of cool about it is, in thinking of maybe brown as an obstacle, because that's what it felt like in high school. So that's, like only my personal experience putting through here. It was such an obstacle of everything I hated, of getting up in the morning, of going there, of like hating high school, of hating everything. And not everything, but everything to do with that. White shirts and brown pants, never. I still don't have a white shirt to this day, or brown pants. And
here's all the white shirts for you. Huh?
but yeah, so using this color of, every time I see it, of like, oh, what's my way around this one? How am I going to get around this?
I like it. You'll have to share some of your tips here later.
Will you talk about the shine a light on lack again, please?
Yeah, I will. So that came from looking for the soul acceleration again.
Uh-huh.
th- that came from that card, that the March, the 5 of Earth card, talking about those setbacks and the here, I'll put the show the card. I've got it cut out somewhere. Where'd I cut it? So you could see that this armadillo is sitting outside in the cold, freezing,
Mhm.
outside of a spiritual center, right? It's outside of like a church, and almost in like really focused in on the adversity, the insecurity, poverty, worry, poor health, shortage, not having enough, right? So that, with that being the card, those are some of the things that not only have ebbs that happen in our lives, shortcomings that occur that kind of smack us in the face, but also the mindset once in a while where we get of, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have enough. There's something missing, right? So we get sometimes into these mindsets and we tell ourselves maybe an old story that we've told ourselves for many years of why we're not good enough or why we don't have enough. So it's taking that and thinking of it, and that's the shining the light on the lack. Where does that show up in our life? Is it a pattern? Do we allow it? Do we wallow in it? Do we feel comfortable almost when it happens? Will we ask for help? How do we get around it? How do we get through it?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, when this adversity happens to us, is the glass half empty? Is it half full? And are we going to get up and fill it? Or are we just gonna pour it out, bitch about it, and
That is what I wrote. The cup is refillable.
I love that. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
mostly done.
you are.
Oh, all right. Let's
Mostly
see
done.
it.
That's
Ready to
Okay.
go?
This is gratitude and thankfulness for the food.
Yes.
Mm,
And I found all these little pink hearts, but I found one that's almost, it's like a pink brown.
I love it.
And then that's all the things.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
That you've got the that pink and green heart chakra.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fantastic. You're fat.
That's
Did you start
beautiful.
I
this?
spent a little bit of yesterday cutting out, and um I cut out most of the things.
Nice.
So I was kind of ready to go.
It always feels good. New topic. Like I'm ready to go.
And I love the beach. Beach is 100% sanctuary,
Uh-huh.
and it always reminds me of my sisters, and it always reminds me of my parents. But there's always that renewal each wave that comes in, and I know there's a thing with the ions and the water and the salt, and it's good, and
Mm-hmm.
just always feel renewed at the beach.
Yeah, I agree. And if you don't, you need to go someplace different, go to a different beach or something else because it's
Or go to
there.
the mountains, or
Or go
Yeah.
to the
the
mountain. Yeah.
desert, or whatever.
Yeah, go wherever you feel. But yes, well, you think about the fact that as human beings that we're so much water, and yet and the earth is filled with so much water that we would have that natural connection. but just recognizing it, taking time to stop and recognizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kathy, you mentioned drinking water. Anybody else have an intention or an idea of how they want to utilize this month, this topic?
I think being mindful of setbacks are temporary, or just perhaps realign you for something better.
I love that.
Maybe
That's good.
keeping that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Being mindful.
I think so. Water being one of the sock items, but really that the feeling of sanctuary, of even just, and goes back, I guess, from my spirit animal, or my yeah, would be like the turtle. And I've always had, feeling of being home wherever I am, and yet choosing, certain places to feel more, those experiences. But I think for me, really, what does that sanctuary look like? What is it that, how can I experience more of just that peace within me, no matter what's happening around? Because, like I said, if you pay attention to the world events, there's one whole narrative. And then, like I said, for my little family who's growing, that I want them to focus on being present with themselves, and not to worry about, not worry about, but like what you were talking about, Ember, about the, the person who said, that they lived in fear their whole growing up. And I'm like, it feels a lot better to know that there's always going to be fear when you focus on fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we have that opportunity this cycle, especially, to focus on love, and real love, not the Hallmark moment love, even though that's okay too, because like, that's all right, no matter what, no judgment on anything, but really, but just our part in love. What is it that we can do? Like, how can we actively express our heart chakra? What does that look like?
Mhm.
And could that be like even just a kind word, like go intentionally out and say a kind word to someone every day, or a smile, or hold the door, or let someone in traffic, or something like, what does that look like, that you can actively be aware of, intentionally bringing someone a smile, to either yourself, because I think it
Mm.
goes twofold, because you give that smile away and then you get it back, because you're like, oh, all right, that feels really good. And then so it's that cycle, that perpetual cycle of beautiful, loving energy.
Well, and that goes so hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier of, people are still going through really difficult times personally. Trying to work through everything that they've processed over the last couple of years, and just having that grace and love and connection and kindness to anyone, having no idea what people are going through.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I go back to like what they talk about at the doctor's office whenever you you do your chart and you tell them what you're doing, and they always like amplify it by whatever 2 or 3. They're like, "Oh, she walks a mile a day." Okay, well, she may not walk, I don't know. But other things about drinking the water or whatever. But that, you know, when people tell you how they're feeling, most of the time they're not telling you how they're really feeling.
Right, right. Yeah.
So add that level of compassion and just say, you know what? All right, we got this. You know, I'm going to be responsible for my part in this. And just, yeah, love on people because can't hurt, right?
That's for sure.
Well, especially when we're doing this work, I mean, we are the people that should actively go out and use our tools.
Yeah.
Not to say, obviously remember your boundaries because that's a tool too. And yeah.
Like I'm
Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I was sharing with Ember earlier about this. I was listening to a podcast that was talking about it was talking about procrastination, but like, why is it people procrastinate, and the physiological thing that happens, like where people either get shut down or they get overly active, avoiding something that they should be doing or something. Anyway, but the base of it is that it's we go into a protective mode because it's like a thing that humans do when they feel threatened,
Sure.
and I think to myself sometimes, like, I get protective of myself so often because of experiences that I had in my past, like mainly that have to do with work. And there was just, I think like I experienced so much. I mean, I experienced good times and success, but like I also experienced like quite a bit of shame, humiliation, really tough stuff. And I think like there's just something there for me to like really let go of, because in fact, like the work I have to do is really like in this office. You know what I mean? And this is kind of like my sanctuary. I mean, it is my sanctuary. I mean, I have it inside, but also here. And I am protected, and I do have food, and I do have water, and I do have electricity. You know what I mean? Which is like, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily have that security. So it's almost kind of like sometimes I am, it just occurred to me, tonight, like, I'm like, there's really nothing to be afraid of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's your brain keeping you safe though. Like that's the thing. And so
Yeah. I
going
mean, I
back
think
to
it's,
thanking it and saying, I'm done with it, like kind of what I was talking about with my heart, like of
yeah.
intentionally closing it up, because it's like the common things are that I'm not worthy enough. Like these are like common things that people, universally, I'm not worthy, the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment,
Right.
like those are all like drive human nature. And so going back to doing this work and being aware and just saying, you know what, it's kind of like this would be a beautiful month for you to say, I'm claiming myself again.
Yeah.
Thanks
And let
for
us
that.
support you. Let those invisible hands come out and let's help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's almost like, I wonder if like maybe my my intention should be like trust. You know what I mean? It's just like trust, just
I like it.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, that would be try it on and see how it feels, you know?
Yeah.
You can always change it
Mhm,
or add to it or whatever feels right.
mhm.
But yeah, that would be fun to start play with what that looks like.
And also how that connects with your word of the year.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm usually done by now, but I'm super slow tonight. It's coming along.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're still
Yep,
got a few more
okay.
minutes. Oh,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
I'm glad to get back into it. It feels like it's been a while.
Oh, well, we
For me.
missed you.
Been so busy.
Mm-hmm.
I think my thing right now is this is less about spreading the love than putting the love in the right places, if that makes sense. A lot of
Mhm.
times I'll put energy into people in relationships that probably isn't my energy best spent because it's either not balanced or um they don't have the capacity to have the kind of relationship I think in the way that I guess the people I want to have in my life. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's that weird balance between not judging, right? And just accepting and letting people be who they are and loving other beings. And also, I don't, I want more positive people that are growing, people that have common, so my common interest, so it's so weird. I struggle between the two sometimes.
So what do
You-
you think your focus is going to be?
I don't know. Um, I like always the idea of the five, like the 5 rooms. That always helps me kind of at least like where and what am I doing? But I think one relationship in particular I need to is probably needs to be removed from my life, but they've been in my life a while, but um it's just not healthy for me. Um because they're just a taker and
That's
it's just the reality. And I'm like, I can't keep caring and giving and when it's just not returned um
Mm-hmm.
in a way that is okay with me. So and it's so I don't know, that's like a personal thing, but yeah. The 7 was already a number that kept coming up and I didn't know that was going to be the number this month. So I always love when I reconnect and do this. It's like stuff when I'm paying attention that's happening. So um I think it's like the part of my self-love is connecting with uh I don't want to say the right people because I think that's a little uh
the people
black
right
and
for
white.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My people that add a lot. So shifting my energy a little bit.
Well, and knowing too that it doesn't have to be permanent when you release somebody, right? I mean, it could be, but
Yeah.
but just maybe try it on for size and see how it feels for 30 days. Doesn't, you can be busy when they call or whatever happens there.
Yeah, I think it's that same thing, like with self-love, right? Is it actually using your voice and telling the person, or is it better to not and move on? And, you know, I can see value in both. And I think that's what I'm trying to, I think that the tarot I pulled was like, you're not going to fix it, walk away. Don't try to, it's like, okay, that's probably true with this person. So it's just might not do a whole lot to try to say something they can't hear.
Oh, that's interesting. Say something they can't
Mhm.
hear.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a big sentence. So with that sentence, do you think too that there's that not being able to help them understand, so they stay stuck, that you haven't been able to help them?
Say that again.
That you haven't been able to help them, that they're stuck?
Well, it's funny you say that because this person is very representative of patterns that I have with men. I mean, guy friends too, or relationships. And I also even think it gets to the lack, something that like I'm trying to get in my life, and maybe not in a healthy way for me,
Yeah.
which is maybe like a lack of love, probably. Like when I work with clients, I always tell them there's usually a place that you kind of go to when you're having a hard time, or like the message that plays in your head about either not worthy or whatever it is. And mine's always nobody loves me. That's always been mine. Um, so I'm sure that's probably in there somewhere.
Does that stem from rejection though? Like, is it when you say like nobody loves me, like, that's not the truth. And so is that really coming from rejection? And what
Yeah.
if you accepted every part of yourself, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of therapy around too, like that. I'm just not going to be taken care of and loved, I think, which is the family stuff. Um,
Okay, I'll myself, sorry.
wait, say that again. You broke up.
Because your dog was barking. I can't see which one it is, but
Yeah, I'm just muting.
Okay.
Do you want to share a little bit more about that, Heather?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's gotten a lot better, but I think there's still these things hanging around that I do that might come from that place.
Mm-hmm.
In this relationship, I think is representative of that too. In some way.
you said that you've had that relationship for a long time.
Yeah, probably like a decade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a long time. Yeah. Yeah, those are difficult. Those saying goodbye to relationships, long-standing relationships when they're no longer symbiotic, or maybe we're never symbiotic.
Right. And then when you start seeing it, so he got married and I'm actually super good friends with his wife. And I see the way he treats her. And then now I have lost so much respect. But then I'm like, wait a minute, he kind of did that to me, but we weren't dating. But I'm like, he's always been like this. This isn't anything new. Now I'm just seeing it a different way because I care so much about her. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, why am I allowing him to treat me like this when I'm looking at her going, why are you putting up with his shit, basically? So it's just been interesting. So it just made me evaluate some of, my relationships and put energy more into the ones, like you said, that are more balanced and reciprocal and build each other up than, this more one-sided taking.
So what would you like for that to look like or feel like?
I think I just have, it's might not even be the action externally, but like letting it go for myself.
So peace.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably.
So to experience that, you get to decide what that looks like, right?
Yes.
Please check back and tell us how you are feeling with this.
Well, it's so funny. I do this so much. I'm so focused on everybody else all the time when I have to do it for myself. Because I forget that I'm also super spit.
We're counting on you
Been a
though.
long
Like we
week.
got you.
Thanks.
You got this, right?
Thank
We
you.
know.
Yeah.
Loving hands at your back and support, because
Yeah.
yes, you're the only one who can do this, and you can do it.
How does that key read? Invigorate your belief in resilience. And how do you receive help when needed?
We're here for you. Use our group. Like utilize our relationship.
Those boundaries are tough, and coming from someone who has really long-term relationships, that letting go of them has always been a difficult thing for me. I have this thing of like, oh, if there's this deep connection with someone, it'll last forever. And on the most part, I've been pretty successful with that. But there have been a couple that have not. And one, and the whole reason that I'm sharing this with you, Heather, is that it was a really deep one that was never symbiotic, ever. I don't think from the first day. And I went into it knowing, well, I'm here to guide and help. And then grow up, and then we'll be best friends. And when it crumbled so fast and furious. It was really difficult, and I didn't want to let go. But at the same time, it has been exhilarating. So hard. And if I find myself still in the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, that's where my mind goes. Like, should I have said this? Should I have done this? Should I have tried this? Like, I still go there. So I'm just sharing this with you, and the fact that saying goodbye to a long-term relationship, if it is not symbiotic and you don't think it ever has the possibility of ever being, sever it is in your best interest, definitely, but make sure it's done with the communication that's needed. Don't leave any what ifs hanging.
Yeah. And it's hard when you have a community that they're in, I mean, they're not going away. So,
Definitely. So
even if I cut it, they're not totally going to be out of my, sphere, but that's okay, because they don't make enough effort to for it to be. Yeah. So I did do a lot of growth around, and I love the, I'm sorry. I was listening because I was doing my little book or whatever, so I didn't see who said he was talking about seasons for everything. You know, and that's true for relationships. So they're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily supposed to be forever, and they ebb and flow, and people come back and leave, and you're closer sometimes, and people have things in their life, and some of these are lessons. And you know, Ember, to what you said, like, why was I doing it? Like, because I'm getting something out of it. It's like, because I'm idealizing or trying to save this person, or they didn't ask too much of me either. I don't know. Like, I still am kind of, for this particular one, looking at some of that. Or now I'm just more grown up and care about myself more, so I can let it go and maybe don't have to overanalyze it. Let's see. Yeah. If it's not
it could be
serving me.
simple. Yeah, it could be. Sounds simple, but yeah.
That's where you have to go inside and really, experience what that looks like for you. Because for me, I think I'm no Ember what you're referring to, but like for instances I've had in the past of it doesn't always have to be a conversation, but depending on your level of relationship, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a confrontation. It can be a conversation, but it doesn't have to be a confrontation. And a lot of times when things feel like they need to move like that, it kind of feels like a confrontation to the person who gets the information, right? If they're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
And so, experiencing that mindfulness and saying, you're on one page and the other person might be on a different page. But come to peace with it for yourself first, and then, let it be easy.
I almost find the context of, when realizing like, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings by letting them go. That for me to stay in relationship with them, like I'm just, they're always gonna sense my judgment. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that it's actually kind of, it would be mean of me. You know what I mean? I guess this is the way that I process things, because it's easier for me to feel like if this is going to be a good, I try to put the context of this is going to be good for them.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you.
Yeah, I like that.
And because it is true. I mean, they will feel my judgment, and and there's this one friend who like let me go, and I didn't realize she had been trying to let me go, and then she actually had a conversation with me about it, and I realized that it wasn't, you know what I mean, it really hurt my feelings, because I thought we were really good friends, and then I felt her judgment in that last conversation, and I was like, while it hurt, like in the long term, I'm like, I really am glad that I like let her go. I mean, I was able to eventually let her go in my own mind. I mean, because she had already let me go. you
Yeah.
know, in that like yeah, it just, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to explain why something doesn't work, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, I think, yeah, looking at the emotions around it, and that's the peace part. I think for like you processing, yeah, certainly if you didn't know, if you're not the one who initiates necessarily, or the one that wants to let go.
Mhm.
In this case, I don't really want to. I'm mad because I'm like, why you've been this way? Why is this just now? Why was I okay with it before? And
Mhm.
it's just letting go of that and a little more figuring out, and then
Well, it's almost
turning
kind
that to-
of, and not to cut you off, but like, you know how earlier Kathy was saying the thing about how, it seems like people are walking around like more self-protective or whatever. Maybe it's like what you tolerated before it is not tolerable for you anymore.
yeah, that's exactly like sometimes, we settle for, and we settle, we'll say that, for less than we need or we want for ourselves.
Or deserve.
Yeah.
Have you watched I looked it up so I didn't butcher the name. Have you watched the Banshees of Inisherin?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay, so
That was so intense.
how do you feel about that in your situation?
I am not cutting my fingers off despite my face. Yeah, definitely not doing that.
But that does go back to what Kathy was talking about. Like, you don't have to explain too much,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't cut your fingers. But yeah. However, that did. Yeah,
So good.
I hate that movie, but at the same time, it has been the biggest conversation with so many people for so long. It's a great movie.
I did
don't
look it
like
up about what it was representative of, I guess, of Irish conflict.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was not. I thought it was going to be a fun movie.
Yeah.
I was so
surprise.
surprised. I was like, what is happening?
Oh God, yeah. And then, I mean, it's in the name, but it took me almost to the end to go, oh, that old lady is a banshee. Oh my God, she's the silent banshee. Like, I felt like such an it. I don't even, it wasn't even at the end of the movie. I think it was the next day. Like, oh, now I get it.
That's funny. Okay, I'm finished. So I can't believe it. I'm back to my normal. I'm like, I don't know what happened last month. That I didn't get completed for a while, but here's my divine art alchemy.
Look at this one. Look what you have going.
So this is interesting. So I'll start with this page because obviously this is the easy one. But all roads lead to the heart, right? So that's where I'm going. And the through darkness, light persists. So want to focus on that. And then I found me dancing at the beach here. So, and I'm dropping keys as I go because, time to share, right? So I'm dropping my keys.
Dropping keys.
then-
I like that. That's
nice.
a phrase we need to use. We're dropping keys.
It's
We're
9
dropping
o'clock.
keys. Exactly. Yeah, dropping those keys.
We're helping each other.
So-
We're dropping keys.
Come get them. Happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, wealthy, healthy. Armadillo. Dillo. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Dillo. Unless you're in the South, you can be a Dilla. And then, of course, believing your magic and feeling that earth and that just feels really rich. And of course, I always want the door and lots of love. and the spiral.
Mm.
And I wasn't sure what those were, but I thought they were cool, so I added them. Tell me what that is.
I don't know what that is. I can't tell here.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to take a picture.
Is it on the Pinterest?
Oh, yeah, what
Yes.
are those?
Licorice swirls.
Licorice, of course they are. Yes, so actually that might be one of my, no, I gave up sugar kind of thing. Okay, so maybe natural, whatever. I love licorice, so of course I have that in there. And of course, what's this, red licorice in the box? No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not. Just kidding. That's got to be one of the, let's see what that is. Is it sandalwood? That's got to be sandalwood, right?
What are we looking at? Yes.
Yes. So I like it like that, but this feels good. I'm excited to, it's so different. It's always cool.
Yes, I love it. Great creativity. All right, I think I'm done with mine. Oh, I've got a couple of words to add and maybe a few
Yeah,
flourishes,
I don't have my words there,
but generally speaking,
ooh, yours is nice and colorful.
Oh, pretty.
well, the interesting thing is that I did like the brown background, but then I covered the whole thing up because, I hate brown. But anyway, so I got stuff falling out here. All right. So yes, I wanted some of the green, but I wanted these beautiful sanctuaries. I love, anything that is reminiscent of pyramids, and this was near a central Mexico, a pyramid. And I love that sanctuary. And I love this where it is not only a beautiful sanctuary, but it's also water underneath it, flowing underneath it. So yeah, so just some gorgeous nature in there. This armadillo thing is probably my favorite. I love that. Total representative of rolling with the punches, right? And to find the joy in it somehow, some way, right? Just find a way.
They're on a trampoline, is that right? Armadillos on a, I love that.
Yes, and then how they ball up and turn it into something fantastic, right? Turn it into a nice flip instead of just rolling over and taking it. Right? This woman really speaks to me. I love that feel, that glow, and it still has some of the brownish feel to it, but the key, right? We're dropping keys. And then my little flap with the information on the inside, but sanctuary lady.
That looks great. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you. Inspired by nature.
Inspired by nature.
Dropping keys. I'm writing that down.
Keys, yeah, we're dropping keys.
I keep singing. Do you remember that song Poppin' Tags?
Yes.
I'm dropping key. I'm like changing the words in my head for something like dropping keys. I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'll write us some lyrics.
Got it.
Write us some lyrics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. Yes. Beautiful. All right, Kathleen, are you still working on yours? And Heather, are y'all still working on yours?
Yeah.
All right. Well, please share them in the Academy. So we have a space specifically for our Divine Art Alchemy, if you would do that, and then use the hashtag sanctuary so that we know where it belongs. But yeah, so whether you've shared tonight or if you've, share later, just we love to see our Divine Art Alchemy. We love to, just cheer each other on, and with those intentions, just really feel good. And so, we are this beautiful community of support and love, and want to do as much of that for you guys as we can. So for ourselves, because it's for ourselves as well as others, right?
Well, it is too focused this topic, the expression of the heart. So you just express your heart onto the page. So the continuation of expression is the next step. Put it
Yes.
out in the universe.
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely.
All right. How's everyone feel? I think we need to do a howl.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take a breath, hold it for the count of 3, release it for the count of 3, and then we'll bring it back up for a howl. Okay. So take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Yes.
Manifesting.
Happy manifesting. Love you all.
Love you all.
Thank you. This was great.
Yes.
Have a great night,
Really
everyone.
awesome.
You too. Bye.